Plug into the grid where the future's alive. Web3's calling, yeah, we're taking the dive. AI's in the code, lighting up the stream. Metaverse rising, living every dream. NFTs in our hands, a canvas so bold. Crypto's the key to a world untold. The Real and Common podcast, breaking through the noise. Tune in, turn up, it's the future we rejoice. Future Watch, we're leading the way. Tomorrow's now, it's here to stay. From pixels to power, we're shaping the scene. The Real and Common podcast, the ultimate dream. Digital skies where the avatars play. Blockchain's the pulse, paving out the highway. Sent with the bots, AI's got our back. Infinite realms, no turning back. NFTs in our hands, a canvas so bold. Crypto's the key to a world untold. The Real and Common voice, breaking through the noise. Tune in, turn up, it's the future we hoist. Future Watch, we're leading the way. Tomorrow's now, it's here to stay. From pixels to power, we're shaping the scene. The Real and Common podcast, the ultimate dream. Future Watch, the signal's clear, the revolution's now. It's here. Web3, AI, and more to see.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of Future Watch. I'm your host, Hinano, along with my co-host, D. And honestly, guys, I am really new to what we're going to be diving into in this show. This show is going to be diving into a lot of things like AI, metaverses, crypto, and Web3 blockchain technology. All the futuristic stuff. So, what is a metaverse? Is it a fancy video game, or how does that cryptocurrency work? What is digital money? We don't really have a lot of these answers, and we're not experts, but we love to network with a lot of people in this space. And so that's why we're kind of here to kind of help usher you guys into this new kind of world of, metaverse, crypto, and blockchain tech. So each episode we'll be talking about topics, and we'll be trying to break it down, and we're trying to keep it simple for you guys. So let's try to explore the tech that's shaping tomorrow. And, sometimes we'll also have some guests as well in the studio like today. So if you're curious like me on what's going on in the space, hit that like button, and let's jump into the very first episode of Future Watch as we dive into all things Futureverse. Now, what is the Futureverse? The Futureverse is a concept that envisions highly advanced, interconnected digital and physical worlds where technology, artificial intelligence, and human experiences blend seamlessly. It's about exploring and building a future where virtual realities, AI-driven systems, and innovative platforms converge to create new possibilities for communication, creativity, and collaboration. So, D, before I even get any further, how are you?
I'm good. That was a mouthful and a half, man. Drink some water or something.
I should drink some water.
But yeah, it's funny how you can see the people backstage just, making little things. But yeah, I'm good. I'm really excited for this pilot episode. I'm glad we have 3 individuals who have given us some of their time to help us and help the community kind of learn more about different topics, different projects in the community that, we may not all be in or know about. So that's what the show is about. We're just trying to provide more information, and if people are interested, how they can become part of that project. Make sense? I think it makes sense.
Oh, there you go. So who do we have today?
Okay, so we've got 3 gentlemen. Starting off, we've got our Red Bunny, Bildo Verde, who is a root network tester and also a Futureverse maxi. We've also got Meta Beast, who has multiple personalities, but is also a polymetaversalist. Yes, that is a word. Look it up. And he is knowledgeable in all things metaverses. And last, but definitely not least, we have Dave, who is an elite X Spaces host, hosting multiple shows daily on X, and he is also a YouTuber. So we got lots of help today, lots of knowledge. So shall we bring them in?
Let's get them in, guys. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Storytime crew reunited once again. What is up? Dave, Bildo, and MetaBeast.
What's up, guys?
What?
Is MetaBeast?
What's up, you fucking nerds? MetaBeast, get off of that. I told you. Oh, my God. Hanano, I appreciate everyone having their own green room. You know what I mean? For the record, I only like green M&Ms, and you guys fucked this up. So don't let it happen again. I'm just letting you know.
You're the one eating all the M&Ms in there.
What
All the green
fuck?
ones.
You guys were supposed to start on time. I was trying to make a fashionably late entrance, and you guys start.
I know.
Man.
Oh, shit.
See what happens when I hang out with you too much?
See? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, what excuse do you have this time?
What is this
Anyways.
MetaBeast nonsense? Bildo.
He's partying in the metaverse. Anyways,
Yeah,
how are you guys?
Yeah.
I'm doing great. I can't complain. Been a busy couple days, but yeah, grateful to be here and happy to share whatever I can, answer any questions. And good to see Dave. It's funny that I still laugh every time I hear the elite space host. It is quite true.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dave. He does.
These
an amazing
fuckers know what
job.
they're doing, Bildo. They know what they're doing, just like you. Everybody know. Calculated.
We all knows, right?
I'm winging it, guys. I don't know what the hell you talking about, right? We're shooting from the hip right now,
right.
baby. But let's go. MetaBeast, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here once again. Love what you guys are doing. Glad you got such a great following as well. So appreciate it. Plus, get a chance to show off, as I stated before, some more of my characters. This is Shade on screen. Unfortunately, my MetaBeast is not available, and I really wanted to be my party bear just for you, Bildo, but he comes in, his color's all off. He doesn't come in blue like he's supposed to be.
Guys, I'm going to do this all episode until MetaBeast gets rid of the avatars. And
Dave, is that what you look like in spaces when you're waiting for someone to stop talking?
Yep, that's it. This is it right here.
I was like, damn it, hurry up.
Exactly.
How are you doing, Dave? The master X Space host right here. I said master.
Elite.
Master's above.
I'm good,
me,
man. I'm
just
good.
name.
I'm good. It's good to be here, chat with you guys about all things future. I love this, man. Like, you guys literally saw like a niche, like an opening in the market, and like you see that. I think this is amazing.
Thank you.
I was thinking about it today, and it's like I'm constantly out there chasing like the business. You guys are in the position like to be like, you know what? We're just gonna create the content and we're gonna bring them to us. So different approach. I absolutely love it. We gotta work on your opening music is amazing, but this is like Futureverse. You know, it's not like, hey, Futureverse. You know, it's not like
well, today's episode is about the Futureverse. There's more episodes about other topics later.
Damn. All right.
So
I figured I had to distribute the cook evenly. Like if I was going to cook, you know, one, I figured for
it
everybody.
beats right off me. You do realize that, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like accustomed to you guys. Story time. Anyways,
Are you
guys.
going to sing
They
for
don't
us for the
limit
next
them.
one?
I'm rubber, you're glue.
They're
Whatever
not
you say,
limiting
bounces off me, sticks to you.
They're not
Yeah,
limiting themselves to all things crypto. They're all things Web3.
No. I want to bring up a point. Dave makes a really good point about starting this show. So everyone asks, why do you have like 5 shows? Well, how will anyone know what you're doing in this space if you don't have a portfolio of different shows to offer all these projects and people out there? And I also want to prove to everyone that D and I can create a show within a matter of 1 hour, which is the truth. If you guys ever want to create a show or if you need an idea, come hit us up. We can create it in 1 hour. I
Show off.
guarantee it.
What a
1
show
hour.
off.
So, hey, man, come on.
That is-
Space host here. Come on. Anyways, we're not talking about us anymore. Let's talk about the Futureverse, guys. We have 72 people watching right now. Maybe more will pour in. But I'm going to just jump right into it, guys. You know how it is. Keep the pace here. So This was the first time I've ever heard of the Futureverse, which was Bill and Geck's excellent adventure. I really used to enjoy these. I understand that you guys have stopped it, but this is kind of when I first heard Futureverse, and I'm still confused because there's like maybe 9 or 10 different facets of Futureverse. You got Futureverse, you've got Open, you've got Think, Silo, and everything else in between all that stuff. But the one thing that always stuck to me was Ready Player One was always mentioned with the Futureverse, and a lot of us who are in the fandoms, the people that you're watching right now that like our content, know about this stuff. So this is kind of where my mind goes to this. But after doing some research about Futureverse, this is a very expansive project. Like, it's just ginormous. It's freaking huge. I feel like they're the Black Rock of the metaverse space because they're just everywhere. So having said that, I'm going to jump right into the questions, guys, and then we can kind of like go for the topics after that. Bildo, this is for you first. Can you kind of tell the audience and really talk to us like we don't really know anything? Like, we're really just green here, Mr. Verde. What exactly is the Futureverse, and what's the big idea behind it?
You fucking cheeseball.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Futureverse as a quick TLDR would be like a metaverse technology company that is building tools and protocols to be able to really make this interoperable, quote unquote metaverse. We can get into that and what my view on a metaverse is a little bit later. But they have a variety of different tools to, help builders, help creatives be able to do things in a much easier way. So they're kind of really leading the path, in my opinion, and have spent a number of years. And as you can see, Futureverse was rolled up with 11 different companies to start. They've since expanded it into a few more. But it really is attacking kind of interoperability is hard when you talk about true interoperability with, these NFTs or these assets or these tokens. So they've spent quite a few years developing a whole tool set and to be able to really enhance, what builders and this whole new immersive internet that I think we're shifting more towards. So yeah, I guess that would maybe sum it up quickly.
So to kind of touch on that, is the Futureverse, for a lot of people here, is it a game? Is it a platform? Like, what is like the entire mission of the Futureverse? You said there's 11 companies combined. What are they really trying to do here? And, what needle are they trying to move in this space?
So I would say Futureverse is more of the tech stack. And then you mentioned Readyverse. And I think Readyverse is more the platform that will allow people or bring people's eyes onto it. So just much like, I don't know if you know much about computing, but there's like Linux operating systems. Not many people know what Linux is, but it is what's powering a good majority of the applications and things that are being built on the internet. So I would kind of liken Futureverse to that, to where you might not, I don't think Futureverse will be the name brand that everybody's talking about, but it'll be the tech stack behind Readyverse that everybody is talking about. So Readyverse is more the forward-facing game studio, launcher, and a variety of other things.
Okay, so this is kind of like to try to get like the normal people in that are kind of like into like the gaming aspect of the metaverse per se. Dave, you've kind of talked about this topic a lot on ATC, and you've also went to ETH Denver, and I think you've kind of like collaborate with these guys. What's your thoughts on the Futureverse, and what do you see coming out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember, like, it's funny you brought that up, the Bill and Geck's excellent adventure. I thought like that really was a lot of people's jump off point, right? But for me, there was so much, right, that was happening in the beginning. And when Bildo was trying to explain to me, when I would hear altered state machine and silo and then brains and then this, there was just so much that I couldn't compute all of it. I was like, but I just kind of want to be here like for the laughs in the community. You know what I mean? So I didn't really take the deep dive like into it. I really didn't until
Same.
I actually started. Up until my second battle with Shara, when I realized like I'm stuck in this whole Gen AI music shit. But
The battle you won?
Yeah, the one that I actually won. I actually won a battle, guys. Shout out to me. No, but it was a lot like in the beginning, right? But then the more, you know, I was talking to Bildo, seeing what like he's, I mean, obviously like he's the jump off for a lot of us, and
Yeah.
hearing how passionate he is, that's something you have to pay attention to, right? When you meet smart people and those smart people are invested somewhere and they're heavily invested somewhere, it's like, okay, like why are they doing this? Like, you know what I mean? And, you know, everything like, and slowly, obviously, like, you know, I kind of came on, and ETH Denver was, it was interesting to say the least. Like me and Bildo called it the state fair. We were just like, it's kind of like the jankiest of Hollywoods, but like the jankiest of conferences, you know. But it was, you know, we made the most of it, and I think that first day really just solidified it for us that, at least for me, that this is where things are going. Because the way it happened was, I got that Venice airdrop, which is the decentralized AI platform, and like we went to, it was Dawn of the Agents is what it was called, right? So we heard Mikey, we heard the Think team, you heard the Morpheus team, you heard the Venice team. I mean, it was one after the other. And the two of us idiots literally just walked out there and were like, dude, there's no fucking way that this doesn't do numbers. Like, how would this not be like do great? So yeah, like I started really like diving in. We did a full decentralized AI week on ATC when we got back. And the guys are cool, man. Like they're super approachable dudes. Everybody's collaborating. So yeah, I mean, don't ask me specifics about if I have a future pass or fucking Third Kingdom or none of that shit, right? Like I don't game, right? Like I don't own like a ton of assets, but sitting down at Dawn of the Agents, I bought one of the altered state, like the brains off what's it called?
Oh.
It's like $300. Fuck it, let's go.
That's how much you're going for? Only $300?
It was like 200 and actually less. It was like $250. But
Okay.
when you're around these guys, it's like infectious, right? So I kind of get the FOMO aspect of it, because you're like,
I need a
holy
brain.
shit. Yeah, like I gotta have something, right? Just in the event that. But the pieces are slowly coming together, and look, we're just trying to stay on the forefront of it. So, you know, Bildo's out here like hustling, trying to get people on his show, on our show. We're trying to do shows together. And then MetaBeast is in Decentraland. I don't know what the fuck.
And just to take like a step to come full circle, like Bill and Gex, that was like it holds a special place in my heart. Shout out to Miss Gecko. She's absolutely amazing. Hopefully we can, you know, rekindle that like Spaces relationship. I mean, we're in great standing. She's a good friend. Nothing bad happened at all, but I would love to revamp that show. Cause as you said, like Futureverse and just the whole ecosystem, what is getting built is extremely massive.
Yeah.
But that show stemmed from like what you had posted before, which was like the Ready Player One. And so Futureverse formed. Then shortly after, they announced partnership with Ready Player One, Ernest Klein, and Shara. And I think that like brought a lot more eyes into the project. You know, we were talking previously to the stream about some bat cows, and a lot of their introduction was when the Warner Brothers announcement kind of came up. So when we're thinking of these, like, you know, what is a metaverse, or what do we think, you know, this metaverse could be, most people's minds go to Ready Player One, and seeing somebody, whether they're putting on glasses or they're surfing the internet, to me, there's going to be a more an immersive internet. And like, what better IP can you bring on than Ready Player One, and have the author like on board to help with everything. So I think, you know, there were a lot of it got a lot of attention, but I think it is so vast that it's hard to find exactly where you want to start, or where to like even dive in, or what you're interested in. But now with new experiences, it's becoming a lot easier to kind of showcase what people are doing. So yeah, I love this.
And just in case anybody wants to know the tea behind why Bill and Gex broke up, it's so dramatic, it's crazy. But you have to share, like, retweet this whole space out,
right.
and I'll spill it at the end, like the last part of the episode.
Once we made a certain point, we'll spill the beans.
I'm spilling everything. I'm ratting everybody out. So let's go.
Let's go. So let's talk to the poly metaversalist real quick because he is the Decentraland king. And yes, I want to know what's the talk of the town when it comes to MetaBeast and Decentraland, and what do you guys think of Futureverse? Is it a competitor for you folks? Is this something that has some synergy with you guys, where you guys can be relatable with that? What is your take on Futureverse MetaBeast?
Well, I guess first of all, if we can kind of, what is the metaverse in a sense? Because there are actually different types of platforms out there. There's immersible, there's AR versions, there's games, and it's all a matter of perspective, I guess. I've compiled a list, and my list goes off. If they call themselves a metaverse, I let them be one. So in this case, Dave, I let Sandbox be a metaverse.
You let them? Okay, that's nice.
I let them,
right.
yes.
All right.
That's a statement of intent.
But you know, the metaverse used to be all about virtual lands. Decentraland was big. It was dancing avatars. That's all. They had events all the time, and it was DJ playing songs, and your avatar, you plop your avatar in there, you buy an emote, do different funky moves, and people chat, which got really boring to me fast. But
you don't like this move?
You like my I don't know that we have that one. I brought the Tootsie Roll. I brought the Tootsie Roll in though. But it's more like a choose your own adventure across blockchain ecosystems, because there's so many on different ones. You know, Futureverse has become more prominent. Their Root, Xspector on XRP, Decentraland's on Ethereum. But the definition, so there's a company called XR Safety Initiative, XRSI, who actually they claim they put a definitive definition of what the metaverse is, with things like presence, persistence, immersion, and interoperability. But the truth is, it's still kind of like, it's still a young thing. So it's kind of like a teenager going through an identity crisis. Thank you very much. It's evolving, experimenting, glitching, and occasionally vibing in uncanny valleys. At the same time, the language is shifting. We're starting to hear more. I'm hearing more, not so much the word metaverse, but spatial computing is one, persistent digital ecosystems, and mixed reality, which they're all codes for the metaverse. But so I feel that it truly has yet to define itself. And as far as Decentraland, how do they feel about the other ones? That has been a huge talk. Interoperability, free and open. But for there to be what I consider a true metaverse, is they all need to be connected somehow seamlessly. You should not have to wait for a web page to load, because they do have. So like Decentraland is teamed up with Spatial and Monaverse, and they provide portals to and from each. But when you go from one to the other, you're not in the same clothes you had on before, or even the same looking avatar in the one you started in. So yeah, it has a really long way. I actually kind of see it like that's how I kind of explain it. Someday it's going to be kind of, like, you're in your house is one metaverse, and when you go outside and you go to a store or something, it's a whole different platform. A lot like in Ready Player One. They got the library or the history place where a lot of it takes place. That's kind of its own world, and the whole Stephen King thing. Yes.
Question. So how, because I feel like we've had so many extensive conversations about this, right? Because in order to have your exact replica of, like, whether it's an avatar with the same clothes, same design, like, you need uniform standards, right? And yes. I'm kind of curious, like, do you see that actually happening across the board, like, when it comes to this stuff? Because when I look at, like, the metaverse space or the gaming space, they're all different. Like, everything's different. Yep. So, like, is that a realistic expectation for people to have where
Yes.
it's like, it is?
It is. And so I've heard of actually 2 of them, but the one I'm most familiar with is there is something called the Metaverse Standards Forum, which consists
Really?
of big name companies involved. They're not trying to tell us how the metaverse should be, but they're trying to define some standards for people, for ones to follow, so that all this is possible. But I've always said it's the devs that need to get together behind it, because they're the ones that are creating this thing, and they're the ones that decide what they're going to use to create them. So, but it should be totally be possible.
Touching on that,
Yeah.
Metaverse, the standards was developed by a company called Emergence, or they have an Emergence SDK. They're Open Meta DAO on Twitter. Futureverse was an early investor in them. And you also have the backing of somebody like Tim Sweeney that is like good to like, yes, this is a positive thing. So I guess, Dave, like for your outlook on it, and I know you understand like kind of what Think is doing and providing these protocols for agents to be able to communicate. That's the similar type of thing that's happening in gaming. And then we're going to have Aaron on. Me and you have talked hopefully a couple weeks, but I wanted to specifically touch on like the silo announcements that came this week. And that's exactly what MetaBeast is talking about. There is now a protocol that enables, whether it's built in Unreal or Unity, you can show up in, or your character shows up in the same way, or the same way that Unity or Unreal would interpret it. So they're solving for those solutions. So again, like I feel like we've spent the past 2-3 years waiting for these like quote unquote metaverse experiences to be built. However, the technology is just kind of catching up to like this vision that we all see in Ready Player One. So like Dave, do a deep dive into that. You'll learn about
what do you
Silo.
mean? Like, do you mean that if it's created in Unreal Engine that or Unity, it's going to show up as one way in every metaverse if you want it to, or it does?
Correct.
Like, okay, so
So if I have an asset, like let's just say a Bored Ape or a Fluff, and I am in an Unreal environment, it's breaking things down on a data layer. So it then has everything on the data to where then Unreal or Unity can interpret that data the way that it should, and it will present itself in a Unity environment, maybe slightly different than what you would see in an Unreal, because Unreal and Unity are different, but it will 100% be the same character, also enabling like the same equipment. So if you have a gun, or if you have an article of clothing, or if you have a hat or shoes, it will also be able to bring all of those assets that are attached to that particular character and have them show up in whatever type of environment. So what you said, like, is this even possible? 100% yes, it is built. They just announced that protocol either end of last week or beginning of this week.
I've spoken to somebody who's building one. I've spoken to someone who's building one called Unreal Kingdoms, who claims it will that you'll be able to access it through PlayStation, Xbox. It'll be on Steam, your Windows, Mac. Even as far as doesn't matter if you build in Unity or Blender, it'll be accessible on his. But that has yet to be proven. So,
MetaBeast, we're gonna buy you. We're gonna all chip in for metaversal socks for you, just FYI. So it doesn't matter where anybody creates them. We're gonna make sure that everybody's chipping in. I just want you to know that we already started collecting funds.
All right,
clean feet, man, clean feet. Okay, D, would you like to jump into this high-level conversation with these guys? I'll let you.
I know, I'm like trying to wrap my head around it, guys. I'm such a noob at this, and I'm like trying to understand like all the terminology that you guys are talking about. I might need Brock to break it down for me. But I mean, yeah, great conversation so far. I did have a question, but it's not really pertaining to what we're talking about at the moment. I had okay, so Bildo, I'm kind of jumping somewhere else. So during Christmas time, they had Futureverse had the Questmas, right? And you were able to, like, anyone could participate, and they had these riddles, these puzzles that you could take part of and guess, like the 12 days of Futureverse Questmas. And you had to have a future pass in order to participate. So I signed up not really knowing what I was doing, and I got a future pass. So what does a future pass do for me? What can I do with it?
Yeah, so I would kind of take a future pass, and it's something that goes into kind of when I mentioned they have like developed a tool set to kind of make things easier or let other IPs be able to kind of onboard. So there's what they call like a pass technology. And like currently, if you want to create a future pass, you can sign up with TikTok, you can sign up with your Roblox account, you can connect a wallet to it if you're comfortable with that. In the background, it's creating, you know, like a custodial wallet for it outside of the user. So if you set up, you know, and signed up with your email, you still have, you know, a quote unquote crypto wallet attached to that future pass, whether you know about it or you want to learn about it or not. That's what's happening in the background. I would try to liken like the pass technology, future pass, whatever pass that it may be. It's kind of like your digital passport. So as you're going through all of these new, you know, quote unquote interoperable experiences, there still needs to be some type of identifying information. So you can log in with your future pass. I have wallets that are linked to that future pass, and then it still pulls up so I can transact through my future pass. It can recognize things that are on my cold wallet, but I never have to sign anything that's on my cold wallet. So like I have things that are safe and secure that I don't do anything from that wallet, and that's just like my vault I never touch. That pass enables it to have access to that wallet and see what I own in that wallet, but I never have to transact or sign a transaction through that cold wallet. I do it all through my future pass. So the future pass can kind of bridge a lot of different gaps to really kind of solve like the, you know, quote unquote passport as you're going through all of these digital experiences, but still being able to identify the things that you own so you can carry those things that you own or have collected through to all of these different experiences. You don't have to say, you know, this particular experience won't, you know, pick up, or you can choose to share and say, I want this experience to recognize this. I don't want it to recognize that. And so you can kind of pick and choose and take control of what you own a little bit further. But yeah, short term, I would just say it's like your digital passport for these interoperable experiences.
But the future pass doesn't do everything, all right, guys. It can't buy you crypto. Like I was on with Bildo, and he's like, "Can it buy me Thon or June?" I'm like, "No, bro. Like you have to get out of that. Okay, you need to get out."
So there's some work. No. Okay. So, oh, sorry. Go ahead, D.
Are you able to transfer like assets to and from other like future passes? Like if someone needed a certain asset, are you able to do that?
If you want to send me your future pass, I can definitely send you a collectible whatever. So like you can still transact. Dave, if you want something, I'll send you a pesky little goblin because that's who you are. So I will definitely shoot you one of those. But yeah, I mean, to take it a step further, just because I know how much Dave loves his ENS names, there's also like root name service. So you can like attach like a .root, like just that you would do like a .eth. And so instead of, you know, having to copy and paste the address, you could just post, you know, bildoverde.root, and then all of a sudden that kind of acts as your, you know, long, extensive, you know, address that you would normally be sending. But yeah, absolutely, you can transact to and from. It's connected to a variety of dexes and different platforms as well. So yeah, 100%.
Let's go. All right, I'm going to switch this up a little bit. I kind of want to talk about this thing called the Root Network. And, you know, what's it all about? Why does it matter? And how is that attached to the Futureverse?
Yeah, so that's there.
You want me to take this one? No, I'm gonna let Bildo take this one. It's fine.
Whoever wants.
I'm kidding.
So root network is the layer one that, I mean, I guess it's in correlation with Futureverse. They set out to build this interoperable like platform to make things and this vision kind of come to life. I think they met with all the big players that currently have blockchains, and a lot of them solved very specific problems of, hey, we can transact even faster. Look at how quickly we can process a transaction, or, you know, there's just a variety of different ways that different blockchains try to solve different situations. For what Futureverse was trying to build, there wasn't really a blockchain that encompassed everything that they were looking to build. So they built their own blockchain. It's built off the Substrate platform. So if you're familiar with Substrate, it's kind of like an open standard that have custom runtimes that people can tie into to kind of save dev work, quite a bit of stuff. They've now incorporated quite a few different types of custom runtimes or palettes that developers or builders can use or tie into, to where like one would be like an NFI or a non-fungible intelligent palette, to where you can kind of plug in that particular palette to whatever chain or whatever game that you're building, but that then gives them access to the artificial intelligence protocol that is on the root network or is in correlation with the root network. So if you wanted to incorporate AI into what you're building, you could simply tie into that NFI palette to save your dev team a whole lot of work trying to figure out how I'm going to program all of this AI to work in my game that way I want it to. So there's a variety of different examples of different custom palettes that can kind of supercharge and be able to enhance whatever it is that you're building.
Did you guys get all that? Did you guys take the notes in the back of the room? That was
Got
like that was a lot to digest, everyone. The Elite X Space host, go ahead.
No, this is what I'm saying though, right? Like Bildo is such a wealth of knowledge, but unless you genuinely sit down, he's been doing this every day for years now. So for him, this is second nature, right?
Yeah.
I genuinely mean that, where we need like a simple like family tree breakdown, right? Of like org chart style. I don't even know if this exists, Bildo, but if not, maybe we can kind of like, maybe that's where we could add some value and maybe build something like this. But and essentially, how does each like piece of this entire puzzle work, right? Futureverse, Readyverse, root network, because like for me, I'm super visual. I need to see like a diagram, you know what I'm saying? Like show me something visual so that like it can make sense, because now we're describing who does, like who's involved, then each piece of who does what. And I think it's like there's so many different pieces out here that it's almost like we got to organize this stuff, I think, in order for people to really like process and get it, if we want them to like really, you know what I mean?
You know, Dave, you make a really good point. You make a really good point, because when we were trying to like get the information out to just ask these questions to you guys, I'm just like, I don't know where to start. I could start at Futureverse, then we got Readyverse, and we got Open, then there's Think, Silo, and everything else in between. And I kind of get lost in the sauce, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, anything you want to add? Go ahead.
I guess I'll break it down. Futureverse, all the tech that goes behind building everything, or the tooling that is going to be able to make things much easier for the end user, such as like Gen is an example of that, to where you can now text a prompt in, you get some music generated. We've seen it with Altered State and seeing text to 3D images. We've seen examples of Promptopia, to where you can text to have like anything created if you want a bigger gun. Or so regardless, to me, Futureverse is the tech stack or tooling that is going to make a more magical experience. Root network is the layer one, the network that is going to basically kind of empower and kind of let companies customize. Then they have, I'm trying to make it not as complex, so I'll just stick with like Asto, which will now be Think.
It's so hard. It's not easy, bro.
Which is like the whole AI aspect. And then you have like silo, which is like communication and data layer stuff. So when you max all of those things together, you magically get Ready Player One.
Like a
Really?
big soup.
I would not be as deep into Futureverse if it hadn't been for Bildo. He gave me 30 minutes, which turned into 2 hours, but we had a great talk, and I learned a lot from him. So, and then so did a friend of mine. He joined us too. So thank you very much, Bildo, for that.
But I also kind of look at it in like a couple different ways. So like we've seen money evolve, or the way that we transact. Like I remember checkbooks and, having a class in school where we had to learn how to like balance our checkbook. Now nobody growing up even knows what a check is. So like, do you want to know about all the different parts and people that played a factor that made that little chip that I can just tap my card, or I can just magically text people money? You don't really care about all of that. We're at the point of all of those things coming together that it's like, look, no, now there's just a chip, and you can use that chip, you can plug it into this phone, and then your phone can access through this technology and be able to magically send Apple Pay to somebody or Google Pay to somebody. And now you don't even have to like go to the bank for anything. You know what I mean? So like, I think when we start to dive into the rabbit hole of some of these more complex issues, it's like trying to understand all the technology that went into. Now you might understand that like, I don't care about all the intricacies of what goes into making Apple Pay, but I understand the future of what Apple Pay could be. So here are the main components that are building Apple Pay, and here's how you could invest into Apple Pay. So you don't have to know all the fucking companies that are coming in and, oh, it got this developer from this team and it got this developer from that team to develop this new way to send money across, cell phones. All you need to know is this company's doing it, or these 3 companies are doing it. Maybe I should invest in them because they seem to have the tech that is going to further advance or further immerse us in this like digital world that we're already living in. We're already living in the metaverse. We already spend hours upon hours either on our screen looking at a phone, or in a screen looking at a computer, that are doing these like not face-to-face type of meetings. We're all sitting here looking at each other on a screen. Yes, I'm looking at a real human being, but it's these types of things that are making the internet more and more immersive. And I think we're only going to continue to see the internet, or the metaverse, what I would call the metaverse, is just like Metabee said, it's growing up. Like we're watching the internet continue to evolve and continue to take the next step of where we've seen it. I think a lot of that's going to be with AI, and buckle up. I think things are about to get wild, but we're seeing the internet grow up, and it's like, oh, cute. But now it's like getting into that more immersive, more like in-depth experiences. So again, we're here on a Spaces. We're all in different parts of the world, and we're all in a chat. This is something that wasn't necessarily possible, or definitely wasn't a big thing even 10 years ago. I think it would have been difficult to be able to do, but we've seen that continue. Yeah.
So I think, like, would you agree, like, what makes Futureverse really such like an appealing, I guess just offering, right? They looked at this entire puzzle holistically from like 30,000 foot view, right? Like this is not just one trick pony. They looked at customer journey. They looked at what's involved, open internet standards, AI, like they cover so much, right? And they followed that up with raising a shit ton of money, right? So it's like, I genuinely don't know like another company that is not just like, we're a metaverse company, right? Like this is not like a metaverse company, right? Like to me, this is an umbrella of like, this is a conglomerate, and it has just like monsters at every level in all of the like different sectors that are going to play probably the most pivotal role when you look at like altered state, silo think, yada yada, and the rest. And everything that that these guys own comes from one of those, like someplace, like someplace. So I think the offering that Future brings to the table is, I mean, I don't see that anywhere else. And that's because you have like these really smart Web 2 minds, right? Like you see what like Shar got like Futureverse on like the most, I forgot what the award or top like best, I forgot what it was, but it was some crazy ass award where it was like best fastest growing companies or something for Futureverse. And it's like you have those pieces in place where we're still talking about founders from fucking NFT projects that are like rugging people, you know what I mean, and pump fund bullshit, you know what I mean? Like this is real business going on here with real money and real tech. And I don't see anything else that's out here that's genuinely comparable to this. But that also doesn't mean that like they need to market and market the right way and make this shit understandable, because right now it's super like you were sitting here like I did some shit for Christmas, but what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's real. Like that's genuinely real. So yeah, the offering is crazy.
But that's why we're having this conversation, to kind of try to simplify it. And I hear what you're saying. Like in essence, and everyone watching, we're early and they're still building this stuff out. There's 11 entities to this big conglomerate, as Dave said. And I guess over time, we'll see like a synergy where they'll all kind of blend together, and maybe it'll just be like Futureverse, and this is their offering, or presented by Futureverse of some sort. But we talked about AI, and I want to talk about AI. And I know that's a subject that we can all kind of like, get behind here. Is I want to know, how does Futureverse use AI, and what does that mean for like regular people? And when I mean regular people like me, the mom and pops, or the people that don't understand this stuff. Bildo, and then Dave.
Yeah. So, I mean, quick technical part, because I think like, just like Dave mentioned earlier, we need protocols, we need standards for these things to interoperate on. So that's what they're doing with Think, and creating a protocol that enables all of these AI agents to be able to communicate and kind of work together. Outside of that, they like Think was out of a collaboration with Altered State Machine and 6079 guys. And then they created this Think protocol. They have a whole AI institute, which is, I think, up to like 70 different companies that are building different aspects of AI that are kind of on the same vision to be able to bring these like open standards, so that maybe like a, Google type of situation. We don't want Google controlling all of AI, because then I think we just lost that battle. So like being able to own it, have it being open, I think is a huge thing. Outside of that, like whether you care about that or not, there's Altered State. So you've seen different examples, and I'm happy to share some with you. I think MetaBeast is in there testing it as well, but they release like a 2D to 3D image generator. So, you could take your, 2D NFT that you've always had, and it's like, I invested in this community, I love my little profile picture. You can plug it into this Altered State, and it will immediately pop out a 3D, fully rigged, ready for any type of game environment character. So now you can, or you could, the same way that we've seen, Dave text into Junie and say, hey, Junie, this is the things that I want. And then Junie, types out this story. You can type things in as well, and it'll create that character based on what you're texting to prompt in as well. They have the music, same thing. They've done a very, ethical, that their AI is trained on nothing but licensed music. So they're trying to attach or attack that approach in a very like meaningful way that I feel like, over time could really be a big shift in the way music is done, or the way musicians can earn, by helping these like different training models. So that'll be like an interesting like situation. And then like to take it a step further, I think everything that will be prompted into existence will all have some type of AI attached to it. So it's hard to kind of think of now, but like, even if you're looking at, MetaBeast, since he's not on camera, we can take his picture as an example. So if you prompted that house and that mushroom and those different aspects into existence, and then now they're in your own little world that you created, each of those would also be intelligent or have some type of AI attached to it that would also recognize and be able to communicate with your characters or other characters coming into that game. So it can really truly provide like a unique one-off immersive experience, because now not only is your character smart and learning and evolving, but the world around it is also knowing what you have and what you're going through, and can kind of evolve to kind of match whatever it is that that experience is. So I think AI is a massive, massive, to me, I just don't see how AI isn't just the biggest thing in the world in the next like 2 years. And I think it'll completely replace applications. I don't think you'll be downloading applications anymore. I think you'll just have an agent that creates whatever it is that you need to get done. So, and it'll do it in a quicker fashion. So instead of having to download Uber, I think you just talk to your agent, and your agent will spin up an app and find a driver that will be as close and book that trip for you so quickly that you won't even want to log into Uber and, you know, say, okay, yeah, facial recognition. Okay, now I need to go here. You know, you just tell your agent what you want and it'll go create it for you.
Dave, I really want your take on this, because I know that you were at ETH Denver and you saw what these guys was demonstrating as well. Kind of give us your insight on all this as well.
Well, first off, Wes, you've officially certified that you are insane. He said in the chat that AI is a fad. I even know, like that's crazy. AI is a fad.
It's nuts.
Wes, stop it. And by the way, I don't know if y'all saw Bildo, but Google DeepMind today released Gemini 2.5 totally for free. I mean, full suite of stuff. So they're this is their way of being like, we kind of got to stay competitive with the open source community a little bit, right? Or the decentralized community. And the offering has to be that much better. But I listened to that space for 45 minutes. And guys, like when you got unlimited resources, what, like, I mean, if I implore everybody to go play with like the AI, like the Gemini AI studio, it is fucking crazy. Some of the shit you can do. It really, really is. And Google are the only people, like one of probably a handful of companies that can actually really like build this shit out like to this level. But this is where you see the competition, you know what I mean? But back to the question, Hanano, like where do I like what we saw in ETH Denver? The name of the game now is decentralized AI, and I'm a little upset that Bildo didn't give his normal like shtick and analogy about the internet and then how it changes. But there was one thing in common, like when we were there and when we came back, was every one of these guys and the urgency with which they're talking about, like, you need to realize how valuable your data is, and you need to realize it now, not yesterday. Like, I mean, yesterday probably, but not tomorrow. Like, you can't wait on something like this, right? The more data and the more we use Chat GPT and all of these other quote centralized AI systems, right? The more we're still staying we remain the product, right? Like the whole point of this shit is we own our data. We should be able to profit from our data. We should have privacy for our data. And then we decide what to do with said data, right? It shouldn't leave my machine. And there's tools out there now, right? Like we heard from Venice, and a lot of these protocols are building this really, really cool shit. Like the Think guys, I mean, what they got building is they're creating like their whole, their own standard out here, right? Which I came to find out is what I see all over the timeline, something called MCP, but we're not going to get technical or crazy. But bottom line, they're connecting a lot of different things, and there's so much collaboration going on behind the scenes, and there's layers to this whole shit, right? Like there's so many different layers, but it's like Bildo said, me as the average user, I don't give a fuck about any of that. I don't care, right? Like, what does this actually mean? And the bottom line is own your data, and that's going to be extremely valuable at some point in the future. And if as a collective, people, humans, buy into this idea of we need to own our data, then that really, really, I mean, empowers people the same way that the Bitcoin, the idea of Bitcoin infected everybody. And now look at it, it makes perfect sense. The same concept applies here. Realize how valuable your data is. You are being farmed for every bit of data at every minute and every second of every day. no matter like with whatever you're interacting with. You're looking at a screen, you're talking on the phone, you're scrolling through social media. They are farming you. You work for big tech and you ain't getting shit for it. And now you're starting to see companies that are coming out now. But these guys, this is like an ethos. It's like you'll never shake these guys, right? Like these guys will be like, this is what it is. And you have to admire shit like that, right? Like you have to, like, that's a cause that I can get behind. And, you know, like, I mean, I wanted to put in a lot more money, but I was like, let me just kind of contain myself. Because I came out there giddy as hell. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy shit. And what I mean, and last thing, Hanano, is we watched a video, okay? And it wasn't even a complete video, but of a bored ape running through a metaverse with that's being voice controlled. And they're building assets like voice to image like 3D image creation in real time, while for those that are familiar with other side, like the coda that you got like with your other side land is sitting there mining on your land, making you money. This is what AI is supposed to be used for, right? Like this is the shit. It's like AI is supposed to be the assistant to try and make you that much more efficient and essentially free up your time. Because what it comes down to is that is the most valuable shit we have out here is time. Time is what's going to get you paid, your attention, and so on. So that's it. Oh my God, D, I just got the red mark for low battery. I got to go get the charger.
No, I agree. And I love the fact that AI has been able to help us streamline a lot of our processes around here. Before I move on, so basically, if I'm a regular user, Bildo, and I wanted to like really get into this, where would be the best place to start? I mean, a lot of people watching right now are still probably scratching their head like, oh, decentralized AI, I can get my own data. A lot of people don't even care, you know, but like, what is a good starting point for a noob to really try to like digest this stuff?
I mean, I think guys, and they now posted all their stuff on YouTube. So we're here on YouTube. I would shout out them, check out their YouTube, and they do at least weekly kind of like talks, and they do a far better job at breaking things down in like a very digestible kind of manner, or being able to use certain analogies that most people would understand of, oh, okay, that makes good sense. So I would definitely give those guys a follow, especially check out any of their YouTube stuff. If you're into creating, I would try to sign up for Altered State and get in their test to feed you whoever's paying Google enough money to show up the top of that fucking web search. So like take that back and be able to figure out and own and control what you want to search, not be controlled by a large corporation feeding you information on who's paying them the most.
It's a hand raise.
Go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead,
This is
Dave.
not Spaces. Go ahead, man.
Like there's a hand raise in the blurriness. Yeah, I want to make like two quick things. One, everything Bildo just said, yes, 100% true. I think the thing to emphasize too is, but the people that actually get this now are going to be so far ahead of the game that I think like it's really going to make it's moving so fast that if you like adopt this ethos now of I need to own my own data, I think it will be extremely profitable. And I don't think people genuinely realize how much data they're being farmed for. Just go look at online, like how many data points, like your car is sending back to the manufacturer, like just from your trip to like your house to the store and back. It's insane, right? Like it's billions and billions of data points that they're making shit tons of money from, insurance companies, yada, yada. The other thing is, I kind of want to address Wes's point about like, it's not he said like AI is not the internet. You're right, Wes. AI is definitely not the internet, right? AI is going to be just as big and just as important as the internet because they are going to complement each other. And what I mean by that is like, you now like think about how the internet came about, how email came about. Oh my God, Bill, I was about to jump into that story. No, but just really think about it, right? If AI and AI like as fast and as rapidly as this is like advancing, it's going to catch up really, really quick, right? And the way in which machines can evolve and these algorithms are evolving it like you already have agents that are, you might not have general intelligence, right, which is AGI, but you have PhD level 200 IQ agents already there. So the computers are already smarter like than the humans. So imagine what they're going to now come up with in such a short period of time. Like nobody is ready for like this AI revolution, but I feel like a psycho when I say this kind of shit. I feel like a crazy, and I know I really feel like a nut job when I say this shit, but
I think we're all crazy
We
then, eh?
accept you for who you are, Dave.
yeah, we listen.
We're in
but
the
we
same
don't
bus,
judge.
Metabeast. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, MetaBeast is going to be playing in Decentraland, and like, you know what I mean? Like John Connor is going to be here to save the world. But it's true. Like if you talk to any of these companies, like there's such of the belief that like you need to own the data. That's if you walk away with anything from this fucking stream like tonight, and it was like, what the fuck did they talk about Futureverse? Take this one piece. Own your fucking data. Own it. You, me, tell everybody you know. Own it. What does that look like? That's a story for another fucking time, but at least start to process that.
D, I have not had you speak in a while. I know our daughter picked up our son, so I think you're ready to go. Anything you want to add to this?
Will you put the kids to work? Oh, like that? Okay.
Oh yeah, child labor, man. You gotta work for your house and your food. Come on now.
Let's go.
No, I've just been enjoying the conversations. I love your guys' take on everything. I'm probably gonna have to go back and rewatch this episode and ask Rock to help me out, break down some more. Yeah, I mean, I've talking about Grok, I've found that Grok has really helped me, when I'm on X, just to like have something broken down and, give me ideas on a specific thing that I'm, trying to figure out. So that's been like a plus. So AI, all that stuff can work with you to, make whatever you're trying to do even better or give you ideas. And then from there, you can, work on whatever you're working on. But I've been enjoying the conversations, and yeah, a lot of stuff to digest. But yeah, I'm here for it, and I'm willing to learn some more.
To bring it full circle, you guys said my first introduction to Futureverse was Bill and Gak's Excellent Adventure. Me and her hosted a weekly spaces that we ran for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. Because of this, because it was so expansive that like it's hard to grasp in a 1 hour show or an hour and a half. Like I sat down with MetaBeast for 2 hours, and like I think it helped him a lot. And like, okay, I can kind of see where I need to go, but there's no way you're going to grasp everything in one sitting. I mean, I've been in this ecosystem for, over 3 years, and I still don't I know Dave likes to say flowers and say he knows everything about this ecosystem, but I'm still learning. And as things continue to progress and get released, it kind of brings more of the picture into play. So, I'm happy to come back on and chat anytime. But there is shout out to Dave and him hosting spaces that cover a lot of this type of things, him bringing on MetaBeast to now talk a little bit more about, metaverse experiences on all things crypto. So like there's different avenues that are out there, but like it is a very broad subject. And if it's something that like you really do want to learn about, like the underlying tech that goes into what enables me to say, hey, Dave, I'm going to shoot you some Apple Pay. Here's some money. Like, if you want to learn about that tech, there's sources to learn about all of it. If you don't really care about all the tech that comes on, I feel like all of the foundational pieces have been kind of put in place over the past 2 years, that now 2025 is more like the show don't tell anymore, to where we're now starting to see these experiences to where you no longer have to understand me going into the tech that is enabling this like experience. You can simply hop into the Readyverse and say, oh, I can see that this is a much more interactive version of what like the Epic Game Store could be. And like you can see that future, or you can see these steps of how what we know today will only become more and more immersive here in the future. So like if you are, I want to see it, I don't want to understand it, I think over the next 9 months, we'll start to see some pretty wild examples of all the stuff that we're trying to make sense of.
And so before we kind of close everything out, it's my understanding you've been a beta tester for early access of Readyverse. Is there anything you can share with us on what you've experienced so far?
Fancy.
Yeah, I mean, again, like when you first log in, it drops you into, like, if you're familiar with Ready Player One, in the end, like they go to James Holliday's like room, like childhood room. When you first get dropped into the Readyverse, you feel like you're in James Holliday's childhood room. Like it is very much like that, like that they just showed it on the clip, but like they're taking that IP to give people something that they're familiar with. But like the video that you're seeing right now, like each different clip that it's in is like a preview or almost like a learning of that game or that experience. So imagine going into Epic and saying, oh, you know, just based on that thumbnail, this game kind of looks interesting. Then you get put into an environment like this, and you're now saying like, oh, okay, this is what the landscape of the game kind of looks like. And then also different like interactive posters
That's a pink bunny.
That's a pink bunny. My bunny is red. That's a pink bunny.
Fluffer bunny, a pink fluffer bunny.
So again, it's early stages, but you're starting to really see kind of this more immersive or more interactive way to kind of have the same experiences, but making them a little bit more magical. So yeah, I've been thrilled with testing it. I've realized how much of a boomer I am trying to get around it and how much I don't know how to do like on computer gaming. I've always been like, give me a controller and I know what to do, but WASD and controlling with mouse, it's a whole new language that I am personally trying to learn. But again, I think Readyverse for me is what Dave was talking about. Like, I want to see it. Like, this is the first example of me kind of being able to see, like, they've talked about this vision. They've talked about what Readyverse may be. Now you're starting to see a glimpse of how some of these pieces start to come together. And again, I'm very excited and super bullish on the way that I think things will kind of transform over the next few years, the same way that we saw, like, you know, I remember having to blow on a Nintendo cartridge to get it, you know, to make sure it was clean to where I put it in, like it actually worked. And then like online gaming kind of came in to where now you could put on a headset and start connecting with different like people that are playing the same game across the world. And you're on a headset getting, you know, just schooled by a fucking 12-year-old. And you're like, how is this 12-year-old so good? You know, he's talking shit to you. And you're like, why is this 12-year-old just owning me on this video game? But you saw like a very big transition of way video games were digested or experienced. I think we'll continue to see more immersiveness and more, you know, quote unquote magical experiences. You don't need to understand all the tech that goes into it. You just need to say like, oh, this is a way cooler way of interacting with these experiences that I already interact with. And I think that's what we'll start to see throughout the rest of the year.
This is exciting, you guys. Seriously, just the visuals alone and what you're describing, I'm getting pumped for this. I mean, you know, I know there's some other projects that are releasing their own types of metaverses and stuff like that, but like when I see stuff like this, just the advertisements alone, it's insane. So my final question to you guys, specifically, I'll start with you first, Bildo, is where do you guys see the Futureverse heading in, say, the next 5 years, maybe the next 10 years? Go ahead.
I mean, it's so hard. I mean, I think we were in Denver, Dave, and it's like they asked a similar question, and it's like,
set up, bro.
No way to predict. Like, with the way things are progressing and so fast, I don't even think it might even be like possible to kind of really have a true gauge of where we're going to be in the next 5 years, and or it would be somebody like in the very beginning, or like iPhone 1, and it's like, oh, in 5 years you're going to be glued to that phone and you're going to be sending emails and text and sending money and transacting and doing everything from this phone. You're like, no, fuck it, look, I can scroll, this is fun, this is way better. I just tap the screen and text instead of having to like press a button, or God forbid T9 where you have to press a button 3 times to get the letter C, or you know what I mean, like at the very beginning of it, you would never be able to imagine how fast or how much, the iPhone or that kind of technology really changed the game. So we're at the very beginning of that. Now, if you look at iPhone and when it came out to where we're at now, yes, there's been like big advancements in technology, but I don't think we've seen anything in the likes of AI and what it's going to be able to do and those capabilities. So I think it fast tracks that iPhone 1 to iPhone 16 and condenses that down into the next like 2, 3, maybe 5 years tops, to where the way we interact and the way we transact apps, the way builders build everything, I think will be completely different. I think if anything you can take away, Futureverse, Readyverse, all of that is providing tools to try to enable these more magical experiences that I think we all want, to where when you look at Ready Player One and he's just like, and he's switching different outfits and he's presenting himself in whatever direction that he wants to show up. And he's going in between game and game and game and hopping into his DeLorean to race, and then hopping over to find his friend that's in this like destroy all, take all, if you lose, you get zeroed out type of experience. Like all of that will be possible. I don't know that we'll see like full VR versions of it in the next 5 years, but I think that's kind of on a few developers to make some of that tech. But again, we're seeing some crazy stuff with just like the Ray-Ban glasses that you can put on and have like a kind of crazy immersive experience just with some glasses on. So yeah, I think, where would I expect us to be in 5 years? I feel like wherever your imagination can take you, I think it's going to be possible to dream up whatever world that you want to live in, whatever assets that you want to have. I think you'll be able to prompt them into existence and then take those things that you're prompting into existence anywhere on the internet or in any experience that you would like. And then you can choose to share what information or what experience, get access to what part of the day that you want to share with them.
Let's go, Bildo. And that is it, you guys. You can't end it any better than that. Thank you so much, guys, for coming and hanging out with us on our very first episode of Future Watch. We dove into the Futureverse today, and I want to get everyone's final thoughts before we go. I really want to thank Dave, Bildo, and MetaBeast for coming and hanging out with us on our very first episode. Final thoughts, MetaBeast, and we'll go down the line and we'll end it with Dave.
Fuck, I had one and I forgot it.
The perils of being a boomer.
Shut up.
Reset the dial-up modem. It's all good.
Ask your other personality.
He just wants to close the show. It's fine.
No.
I'll go. You can close. It's okay. It's not a problem. No. So what I'll say to everybody, Hinan, I don't know if that link shows in the chat or not. I don't know if you have to approve it or whatever. But
no. Send it to the private, and then I can.
I did.
I'll
so that
put
one
it in right now for you.
So Min Choi is a like an AI influencer, bro. Like what Bildo literally just described, like the VR guy. Like this is the Metavision Pro, Apple Vision Pros, and it's AI full on human like avatars in AR that like you just, and it's like here you go. It's like that's now, and that's now. You're asking 5 years from now. Bro, like for all we know, like we were gonna be in spaceships, like you know what I mean, like Jetson style, flying around out here. Like who? Like this is how fast this shit is moving. So I don't know, 5-10 years, but I just think like following these guys every day is something that I see, and I'm just like, what the fuck? One day to the next, and the competition just keeps getting greater and greater. And look at the companies that are getting involved. Like that's an Alibaba AI. Like what? The companies with money, right, that are monetizing you and me and everybody else and getting paid for it are building this cool shit. But again, don't forget what you take away from this. Own your fucking data. And I thought genuinely that Bildo literally was like mic drop and walked off the camera. I was like, oh my God, this dude is
Yeah,
kind of.
he's done.
That what happened just now? Like, you just walked by. It was
You
I
like,
need a
did. I
refill.
was like, I gotta come back for the closing.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Rock star.
I timed it
It's
wrong.
like,
God
yeah.
damn it. It's like the person that tries to get the slow clap going at the wrong time. It was
Yeah.
like, no, wrong time.
Oh, Bildo, thank you so much for coming on and sharing us your insight. We would love for you to come back on maybe for a part 2, maybe even a part 5, depending on how expensive this can get. But final thoughts, man.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you guys are doing. I would be happy to come back. And I know you asked, MetaBeast earlier, like, is this like a, like competition? And I feel like it's not. Like, I really feel like for this vision to get built, it needs to be to where you can hop from Decentraland to Readyverse to Sandbox to, other side, what VVverse, like wherever you want to go within these experiences. Like, I feel like you should be able to interoperate between all of them very seamlessly, and everything that you own and all of the experience or knowledge that you've gained in whatever experience you played can then immediately be kind of interpreted into whatever new experience that you're looking to kind of do. So like, I don't view them as like competition. I would say like, I want as many people to win in this open space as possible, because the more one company wins or leads the way, the more others will kind of follow to be able to really build out this future that, at least me personally kind of dreams that like, I do want to own all of my stuff. I want to own my data. I want to own my AI. I want to take control of my money. I want to be my own bank. I want all of these things. So the more that these companies that are pushing that forward, the better, because the more one person wins, the more we all win together. So yeah, super happy to see, all of the advancements. And that's why I say hats off to you guys for kind of going down this road and exploring different things that are getting built, because I think it's important to have people that, I get in my silo of this is my Futureverse bubble. This is what I know. And I've been very grateful, and it's been a learning experience to get through, like you guys and VVverse and everything that's getting built there. Like it's just cool to see people genuinely excited for what their communities are like building. And I think the more people are exposed to more stuff, and it's like, well, I kind of want to do this and I kind of want to do that. And I feel that like, well, I want to do all of that intertwined. And that's where like the real magic happens, of when all of these things become interoperable. Yeah. That magic, that crypto
I love
magic.
magic. He was throwing them in there. This guy he doesn't even know he's doing it. Like, it's just natural. And by the way,
Yeah.
this is the crypto magic hour of the Futureverse. So they stole this idea, obviously, from crypto magic hour. Like, but it's fine. We love them. Let them do it. Whatever.
See, we're cool with letting people shill whatever they want here, by the way, guys. Shill away. But
Barbecue.
Oh, guy barbecue. Bildo, thank you so much for the insight, and I appreciate that. And just to kind of like follow up on what you said about us doing this, a lot of people look at DNI like we are just in the digital collecting community, and we really wanted to break out of that stigma. A lot of people right now, they're digging in on, because we came from Vivi, they're digging in on Vivi because of the affiliates program. So you would think dig in and start doing a lot of that content. Well, DNI are like the people that like to go against the grain, and we said, well, you know what? Let's do the complete opposite. While everyone is doing, digital comic book and collectible stream, that's what the stream used to be. We're going to do something completely different. So everyone watching right now, just know that we are going to be reaching out into the actual Web3 community. We want to talk to you. We want to talk to all these other people. We had Michael K and Fairside on Friday. So this is the type of direction we want to go with this show, mainly for the newbie and the regular viewer. You know what I mean? The regular people that have no idea. I mean, there's people that watching right now that probably had no idea Futureverse existed, and now you do. And so that's what we want to do. That's the type of content we want to bring to you folks. And we appreciate everyone for tuning in. MetaBeast. Final thoughts, my friend.
Real quick, shout out Miss Gecko too. She was my portal to you Fantastic Four up here. Shout out Old Guy Barbecue popped in. I have always described the metaverse as a place where the things you haven't even imagined yet are already being built. There's, other than the current limitations on size, your imagination is free to go. Check it out someday. So
I'm sorry, what? Butt size?
What?
Butt size? Who's butt size? You're talking about BBLs in the metaverse?
you know we love you, Meta Beast. This is a story time reunion.
Just for your complicated ass, I came on there, Dave.
Appreciate you, Minibees. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Close it out, D.
Wait, did Dave go? He went. Okay.
Dave
I just
went,
want to make
yeah.
sure. Okay.
Unless Dave wants to end it again, he can if he wants.
Let's go.
Yeah, I just want to say a huge thank you to you three for coming on and just giving us some guidance into an awesome company, awesome project that has many things under its, I guess, umbrella. And we could have like seriously an episode of each, like 15 different layers. And so
It's an onion.
so if you're able to somehow work on that family tree style of breakdown, yeah, I'm so down for it because I'm also
There is somebody
a
that
visual.
developed it. I'll send you the link for it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called Silver Tree, I believe, but I'll send you the link that shows.
I would have came prepared with that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's I would've came prepared.
Of course you would.
You would have came prepared. Junie would have brought you prepared.
It doesn't
Right.
matter how. I just would have
Hey,
been
Junie.
prepared. Okay, hater.
It's all up here, man. It's all up
Hey,
here.
Mr. Junie
It seems to
Appreciator,
be.
who promised us a story time reunion, if you don't recall.
Excuse me,
This is
sir.
it right
I'm gonna make
here,
you eat
right
those- I'm
here.
gonna make you eat those words this week. Thank you very much.
You tell me when that happened. I'll simulcast
This
it
week?
for you.
This week? Did I hear
This
that?
week? I think we're all waiting for our fix. You know?
Yeah, when spaces.
Yeah.
Sit down now. He said that. See, close out the show.
Yeah.
Close out the show.
You got any more of that story time?
Yeah.
You got any more of that
Story
story
time,
time?
man.
Yeah.
You guys want to
Um,
man?
Oh, geez, man.
Oh my gosh, you guys are too much. But seriously, I appreciate you guys for coming on. This has been great, and can't wait for the next time to have you guys back on whenever you can, and just give us more knowledge and a follow up to this conversation. And it'll be cool to see people turn in the chats and say that they've started on down the rabbit hole into this Futureverse. So that'll be really cool to see if that happens. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. Thank you three for being on our very first episode to debut and
Wait,
kick
this
us
is a
off.
regular show? I thought we were gonna be like a team. Like, what the hell is this? What?
Sure.
Nope,
Yeah,
one
no.
shot only.
Yes.
What the fuck?
I can pay you in
What's up?
gems. You want to get paid in gems?
Are you
Yeah,
committing?
I would.
Are you committing to another show right now, Dave?
Let's go fucking.
Let's go back. He said that shit on his
Thank
face.
God we're not
I
sponsored.
know. And I was like, oh shit, he just said that.
With remember that with Metaverse HQ? He's like, let's go fucking, and I was like, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, he just said it, and he just mic drop and just was quiet after. I was like, oh my god. No, love you guys. Thank you so much, and appreciate all the watchers, listeners for tuning in and just enjoying the conversation. I see Brody's like, hey. But yeah, this has been great. So thank you all for tuning in and just supporting.
And I will say, I know you were on the spaces earlier. You heard Ben say oh, I met with Brooke and we're getting some coffee. Brooke is the reason that I'm in this whole ecosystem. We haven't heard from him for a while, but him, Aaron, Shilvers, Sunshine, or Krista will be all on the spaces tomorrow talking all things, and it'll kind of be in an AMA as well. So encourage anybody to be able to tune in if you're able to, and should be anytime Brooke's been on a space, it's been entertaining. So I would encourage everybody to tune in.
When
Bildo,
is that
send-
happening?
Oh,
Oh.
go ahead.
Tomorrow, I believe it's 2 p.m. PST, but I'll
Make
send
sure
you
you
the
get
link.
the time right. All right, don't fuck up the times. All right, because I've seen people fuck times up for shows like this. So don't screw it up.
Send me the details on that, Bildo, and I'll share it in all our socials.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do.
All right, cool guys.
Thank
That
you,
has
thank
been
you.
Future Watch for episode 1. Thank you all for tuning in. You got 250 people watching right now, and we will be back next week. Thank you to the panel, guys, and also leave us some feedback. Let us know if you guys enjoyed the episode. Are we okay with this? Do we suck? Let us know in the comments down below. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care and Aloha.
Nobody's saying
Bye.
much.
Future Watch, we're leading the way. Tomorrow's now, it's here to stay. From pixels to power, we're shaping the scene.